A Turkish company spent 17 years building a business in India. It lost almost everything in a matter of days. Not because it failed, not because it went bankrupt, but because President Erdogan chose a side. When Turkey openly backed Pakistan during Operation Sindoor, India took note, and New Delhi's response was not limited to missiles, drones, or diplomacy. India hit where it hurts the most: the business. Result: cancelled contracts, revoked clearances, consumer boycotts, and a growing bill for Ankara's Pakistan policy. So here's the question: did Erdogan underestimate India's economic leverage? And is Turkey now discovering that geopolitical choices come with very real price tags? On May 15, 2025, just 5 days after the India-Pakistan ceasefire, India's Bureau of Civil Aviation Security revoked the security clearances of Turkey's Celebi Aviation's Indian subsidiaries. No warning, no grace period. The Turkish firm had operated ground handling services at 9 major Indian airports for 17 years: Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, Goa, Kochi, Kannur. Its 10,000 employees were transferred to other companies in a single day. Equipment was seized, contracts were terminated. The company has now spoken publicly about what happened, and the words are striking. The chairwoman of Celebi described India as her second country, said she was obsessed with it, and called the shutdown the most devastating moment of her professional life. The value destroyed was between $400 to $500 million, gone in a single day. The Indian government was direct about why. Airport ground handlers have access to physical infrastructure, passenger data, and VIP movements. In a period of active external conflict involving Turkey, that access becomes a national security concern. The Delhi High Court, after examining confidential government material, upheld the decision. Celebi was just the most visible casualty. The economic fallout spread quickly across multiple Turkish firms operating in India. Contracts worth almost $27 million awarded to Turkish firm Guard for automatic fare collection systems in the Bhopal and Indore metro projects were cancelled and re-awarded. Turkish construction firm Gulermak, involved in the Surat metro project, was reviewed and also exited the Lucknow Metro Rail project. A June 2025 Ministry of Home Affairs memorandum formally called for the review and cancellation of contracts involving both Turkish firms on national security grounds. Indigo terminated its aircraft sharing agreement with Turkish Airlines, and the Indian government made clear that the 3-month extension granted was the last one. Even before the May conflict, India had cancelled a $2 billion shipbuilding consultancy deal with Turkey's Anadolu shipyard. The All India Consumer Products Distributors Federation, representing more than 13 million Kirana stores, announced a boycott of Turkish products. Turkish chocolates, cosmetics, soaps, packaged goods began disappearing from shelves and online marketplaces. The economic damage is significant, but the strategic cost is larger. India has deepened defense partnerships with Turkey's regional adversaries: Armenia, Greece, Cyprus, and Israel. India is already Armenia's largest defense partner. India is also building 2 major trade corridors that pass entirely through the Middle East, bypassing Turkey. And here's the number that frames the absurdity of Erdogan's choice. India-Turkey bilateral trade in 2024 stood at $8.5 billion, more than 7 times the Pakistan-Turkey bilateral trade. India's GDP is more than 10 times Pakistan's, and Pakistan remains solvent really only through IMF bailouts, Chinese loans, and of course, Gulf support. India is among the world's fastest growing major economies. Pakistan remains dependent on IMF support and external bailouts. Yet, Turkey chose Pakistan over India. But that calculation is now being questioned even within Turkish business circles. Turkey has now registered the damage and it is trying to reverse course carefully. Speaking at an IISS event in Singapore recently, Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan tried to separate Turkey's ties with Pakistan from its relationship with India. His message was that Turkey's brotherly partnership with Pakistan should not be read as hostility towards India and that Ankara wants to cooperate with New Delhi. Take a listen.
Turkey is not the only country who actually have good relations and brotherly relations with Pakistan. There are other countries. If India is going to take actions or be resentful about any countries who is having good relations and enjoying giving support to Pakistan, so I don't know. But as I said, we have no problem on bilateral level with India, and we urge India not to read the issue from a different perspective.
Turkish officials have also maintained that no extraordinary assistance was sent to Pakistan during the recent escalation, describing military cargo flights and port visits as really routine protocols. India is listening, but India is not convinced. Indian intelligence agencies are watching Turkish drone exports to Pakistan very closely, and New Delhi is under no pressure to rush a reconciliation with a country whose hardware was used to attack Indian soldiers just over a year ago. Turkey has a decision to make. It can maintain its Pakistan relationship, the one that generates $1.3 billion in trade and costs it access to a $4 trillion economy and the world's fastest growing major market, or it can recalibrate, accept that its military exports to Pakistan carry a price in New Delhi, and build a relationship with India that reflects the actual economic reality. The Celebi Holding chairwoman said she loved India, that India was her second country. But the drones that Turkey sold to Pakistan didn't care about that, and neither ultimately did India's security apparatus. 17 years of work, $500 million, one day. That is the price Erdogan's choice cost one Turkish company alone. The full bill, strategic, economic, and diplomatic, is still being calculated. This is Times Axis, where global stories meet India's perspective. Click on the bell icon to subscribe because the next big global shift will have India at its center.